When a small cap company becomes one of only 3 companies on the planet to break a battery barrier, you should probably pay close attention if you're an investor. And that's exactly what HPQ Silicon did recently when its France-based affiliate became one of only 3 companies in the world to surpass 4,000 milliampere hours. Don't worry about that. We'll explain to you later why that's so big. Thanks to batteries made with a blend of graphite, which is the status quo, and HPQ's advanced silicon-based anode material. But there's more. The company believes its next generation battery has already broken the world capacity record, and they're planning on making it official in the very near future. So what does this mean from a practical and commercial point of view? It means that manufacturers can adapt this advanced silicon anode material without the need for expensive retooling, ultimately accelerating the deployment of high-performance batteries into the market pretty quickly. And here to talk about today's press release, where their silicon anode lithium-ion batteries outperform graphite by 40% without degradation, is Bernard. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, welcome. Thanks.
First of all, the shirt. We got to talk about the shirt right off the bat. It looks like a rugby shirt of some kind. Is that signifying something, or is that just because we know sometimes your shirts send signals?
This one, I really don't think so. Other signal, the fact that sometimes it comes in and out during the virtual background. No.
Yeah, your left shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my left shoulder there. My left shoulder has disappeared. And it was even worse with the white back screen. So we went for this one, so we wouldn't distract people.
So you're officially a hunchback. Nobody know it, but at least that's something new we learned today. All right, so look, I'm going to take an excerpt from just small. It says, here's what I want to start off with. Okay. These results further confirm our position as a top-tier producer of advanced silicon anode material. So 2 things stuck out there. First, your position as a top-tier producer. Elaborate on that. Like, are you confident now that you are at the very top echelon of your space? This confirms it.
Yes, there's only 3 companies at those level of record. There's nobody that we've seen that publishes those type of results. They're published nice googly goo saying their battery is better because we did those type of tests. Don't give you any rationale for it due to other materials. We know how to make very good mixed silicone graphite material batteries. So it's funny, you put my name as graphite killer, but I think it should actually become graphite enhancer, in the sense that eventually, I believe in the coming period, I won't give it a timeline, there'll be graphite companies that come and want to work with us, because graphite, graphite is graphite. Oh, there you go. We changed my name to graphite enhancer. There you
go.
No, I was just thinking about it. No, it's not a question of killing graphite. Okay, we strongly believe, okay, that in 30 years it will still be a graphite silicone batteries. It will not go to 100%. We'll go to 40%, whatever it is, and it plays perfectly in what's going on in the geopolitical areas, because right now, contrary to people, it's not natural graphite that's been used in battery. It's synthetic graphite. Okay, the market for synthetic graphite is controlled in China, so the world wants that to go away. What's the best way to replace synthetic graphite is with a silicone into it. You put into it. There's an issue regarding natural graphite. Yes, it can be used, but
you think it'll max out at 40% someday? So there's a lot of room to grow in terms of the percentage of silicon that's augmenting the graphite right now.
You know what? I'm not going to put an end number. That's the concept of optimization. We will try to continuously optimize this until we can get further, and then we'll start optimizing on other part. The problem is you can't optimize 4 or 5 variables at the same time, because then you don't have a clue what would make a change. So you stay focused on one thing, and then you start working on others. That's about what's going on. That's what we're doing.
And you're also referring to yourself in that statement, top tier. We talked about that producer.
Well,
Is it fair to say you're a producer right now? Like, are you feeling comfortable that I know we know you're not producing mass quantities, but are you it sounds like you're comfortable saying, hey, we're a producer now. Or
well,
we're in that ballpark.
we are a small scale producer, okay? And the goal is going to be to expand to a pilot plant size producer and then a commercial size producers. But the key point is to reach that next step, you got to make a material that's good. Okay. If I can bring an analogy back to the fume silica reactor, because it's the easiest one to follow. Okay. You get it at lab scale, you start to prove that you can make a material that's commercially viable. We did the FSR. That's what we're doing at the battery. We're demonstrating we can do it. And then we're working on how we're going to scale this up, make it more economical, make it go forward. I'm not too worried about my competitor. My competitors use saline gas as their material. There's no competition there. You know, it's never going to be in the same cost range of what we're looking at doing. So we're just advancing. We're following the same principle that we did. Yes, we're looking at commercial scales for small, but a lot of the startup companies are in those areas.
Is it too early? I'm gonna ask you just because I like to push the envelope. Is it too early for you to call for you guys to call yourselves the king of the hill because of your competitors and the kind of things they're doing, whereas
Does it wouldn't change anything. King of the Hills is a marketing tech. The important is that we keep delivering, we keep advancing, we keep demonstrating that we know how to make very powerful batteries. You know, this battery that we have is one of the most powerful batteries out there. It's like probably twice the efficiency of what's commercially sold right now. So, you know, if we decided to be a battery manufacturer of 18650, we don't think that's where the future is. It's going to be more in pouch. It's going to be moving forward. And we also know that as we take our material, we move it from a cylinder type of batteries to a pouch, we will even get better results. So, you know, we feel very comfortable where we are. We've reached this milestone, this stage faster than we thought, but we're not going to complain.
Nice. So for people that are new,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that your LinkedIn audience is growing, the people who are watching these is growing. Pilot plant, to become a pilot plant producer, ballpark. When are you guys looking for that to happen? Because I want to make sure we're informing everybody on the same level.
Okay, there's a lot of moving parts ongoing. Okay, so ballpark, it's we should be designing plans and moving that forward end of the year, beginning of next year, but it's still very tentative. But it can move much faster than that. It can move faster.
I'm glad you gave us at least that. That's why I said ballpark, because some people must be asking, okay, great. And then because I've seen companies say, George Com's got this great stuff and we'll be ready for 2029. It's like, okay, well, call me in 5 years then. But so you gave us good perspective. I want to put up the graph.
I've been talking to you for 5 years, so I should have cut that 5-year part by now.
We got to go. We got to get a flux capacitor, go back in time so we can edit those videos to say in 5 years. I want to put up the graphs, but before you do that, the question I have for you is your Gen 3 silicon anode materials outperform graphite by 40%. That's part one, and without meaningful degradation. That's part two. Bring up the graphs, but the first thing I want to talk about, because this is going to be the easiest one for people to relate to, is put that 40% improvement in performance into perspective for us. Because a lot of us don't live in the battery world.
You're seeing it now? Okay. You're seeing all the screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, you're doing a great job. Now you got them side by side. Look at you. Before we're doing one at a time and you're fumbling and bumbling. Now you just got them ready to go. But put that in perspective. 40% is big. How big, for anything, if you outperform something by 40%, how big is it in the battery world?
It's massive. Because, if you need a high performance battery, right? And we're starting to know because we talk to more and more people. I'll give an example, okay? A drone, okay? Because an 18650 battery, it's a battery cell. It's not a battery, okay? A battery is an assemblage of multiple 18650 put together. So in a drone, okay, they put a series of these batteries together to get the energy. Now, if you have this level of energy, that means the home energy you can get is limited. If you're here at around 4,000, you can go much higher level of energy, okay? So the question is, there are some people going to say, you know what? I don't need a battery that has 1,000 application, okay? I don't need that 1,000 test cycle, you know? I just need something very powerful, very short time, because it's going to be drawn into it, and we're going to drain that juice to power something very powerful. I actually just discovered this week that, you know, electronic cigarettes, okay, they need the highly powerful 18650 batteries, because to melt the liquid into a vat requires a lot of energy. So they need very powerful, those type of batteries. And pretty soon we're going to come up with a comparison with the best battery out there. It's the Sony type batteries that's out there. How well our batteries compared to them. So, you know, if you start seeing the comparison about what that 40% represents, it's massive.
So the question I'm going to ask you before we hop on to the second one is, and I always love asking this question, is this the attention grabber for the global industry or the industry? You know, again, you issued that press release today, so I don't expect the phone to have already rang, but is this the kind of number that the industry sees and says, okay, I got to call those HPQ guys, I got to find out what they're up to? Or maybe has the phone been ringing since last time we spoke, because this isn't the first time you've announced some pretty spectacular results. So put that part into perspective for us, because I always like to ask that. I know the shareholders like to know, you know, is this enough for George Com Batteries to pick up the phone and say, hey, Bernard, I want to talk to you guys?
Well, I'll just say it differently, okay? It increases the volume of people that want to talk and work with us and see how we can work and how we can combine. Because you have to understand that what we're doing in a battery, okay, we're just doing one small part of what we're doing in batteries. But the more we announce those results, the more we announce, okay, you know, this was a Gen 1, that was good. This is Gen 2, this is Gen 3. The more we keep showing, okay, on a repetitive basis that we're doing it, more and more people says, oh, I got to go start talking with them because I got to figure out what they have. And then some people are gonna say, wait a minute, I'm looking at getting this government grant application, but we need a partner that can do this. Oh, who to call to? HPQ. We submitted, you know, our own demands for type of grants or those type of project, you know, and the competition, the environmental competition landscape is massive. I think there's one in Canada where I think they said they were 18 or 38 times oversubscribed. Okay. And we still we made the cut to go to the next step. We didn't get the money. It's not crazy. We just made the cut. Next step. That was on Gen 1. One of the questions they asked, well, can you show better results? Of course, we already have it. We're not waiting on you to do this. Okay? Because there's very specific part of how we're going to industrialize this, how we're going to make this economically more viable. Because it's part of the same equation. You know, it's very nice to do. You got to make sure you can make it cheap. And HPQ has an incredible advantage over all of our competitors, is that at the start, it's at least 2 to 3 N, it's 3 to 4 N silicon, which is what we do with our QRR. So everything that we're doing is phased on making the QRR a more valuable asset.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how you're getting vertically integrated. We've said that before. Mm-hmm. Now, the graph on the right side is just, it doesn't show, because there you got the yellow and blue kind of intersecting or connecting there. So the one on the left, everyone can see that bright yellow line is head and shoulders above everybody. That's pretty clear. That's LeBron James. Everybody else is a kid playing high school basketball. What are we looking at on the right? Because that's the degradation side. So what are we looking at there?
Well, this is the first 50 cycle, okay? And this is the graphite degradation, and this is our degradation. Remember, silicone, by definition, has an expansion problem, which means it actually loses its biggest part of its energy in the first cycle, all right? Now, as far as I can tell, okay, I have not seen a result, okay, where a silicone battery matches the degradation. Okay, we're Olympic level photo finish type of differentiation. I don't think people have brought out the difference. Because when I looked at the number first, it says graphite after 50 cycle is down to 99.6. Okay. Our silicone, 99.6. Okay, like there has to be a bit of a difference. So I go to 1 decimal point more. Okay. Okay, so the retention, the energy retention, our material was 99.59 and the graphite was 99.61. So if you basically, so it's the same one. So I had to go 1 decimal point more to see the difference. That's after 50 cycle. The trend is
Notice
very
that blue line goes right out to 150 cycles. So is that the goal to get that right out to 150 for you?
It's not. There's no goal in really R&D. It's pushing it to the maximum to see what you can get. Okay, that's really what it is. If you take a look at our Gen 3, which we found very exciting, but it did lose about something like 2%, and at the end at 150, it was losing 4%. If we can manage,
that's Gen 2, not Gen 3.
Yeah, Gen 2. Okay. So if we can manage something that stays very, very close to this, okay, because look at the difference. Okay. So these graphite batteries that I'm telling you the one that they're using for VAPs, okay. Well, after 300 cycle, they've lost half their power. I mean, they've lost half their power. They're what, 1400? We lose half our power. We're just at the power where this starts. And we're not losing it. So it's incredibly promising, starting to move forward. Okay. As we get more and more results, we'll get more into it. I expect that there'll be a degradation. It's expected, but how far can we go? And we actually know that once we start putting this type of material in pouch type batteries, we'll get much longer cycle life. For the very simple reason that the pouch can expand, contract. Okay. A cyclical batteries has no room to it. So it's the best environment to test it.
You don't have any margin of error there. So if you're doing it right, you're really doing something right. I've actually this before, but I want to upgrade the question. Which one matters more right now? This fantastic improvement in capacity or this fantastic improvement in degradation or the lack of degradation? And I know they go hand in hand, but which one is more important to the industry? Or do different industries have different needs? Like you're saying, the electric cigarette, for example, might have a different. They might look at this differently than a big compressor.
I don't think really they're both very important. Okay, well, okay, let's be realistic. If you get those results with shitty type of degradation, everybody can do that.
Yeah.
It is the combination of the three results, okay, because it's 3 different results. The first one we said, that's what we read in the press release. When we do a maximum capacity test, because I'm pretty sure some fuss are going to say, well, but you're telling us that the world record is 4,000, you're below, you're at 3,000. Yeah, okay. We know, okay, we understand. That's why we wrote in the press release very specifically. When you do a maximum charge test, you do a maximum charge test. How much battery you can still put into it. When you do a cycle test, you're trying to replicate normal operating conditions over a long time. It's not the same type of test, so you can't get the same types of results. Now, people in the industry understand that. And, FUDs will like to play around, trying to make a big balloon, that's what c'est la vie. The fact is, for us, it is this combined with this that makes this very exciting.
And like a midnight infomercial, there's more.
And there's
because I'm asked now. I'm going to take another excerpt that says your Gen 4 based 18650 batteries could exceed the 4,400 mark. So the question I have for you, and I think somebody else reached out to you to ask you this question, is that because you're going to right now you're partially optimized? You stressed that in these press releases. Does that mean you're going to be fully optimized for the Gen 4, hitting that 4,400 mark?
Nope. It's interesting. It's the question that seems to come, pretty often from investors. Actually, even today, I had one of my investors from Netherlands asking me. We speak about partially optimized, and I have a question. If we could have an answer today with George, there you go. There's a reason why we do this, so we can basically try to give.
We grant their wish. What's our question
we
specific?
try,
You want to read it out?
yeah, well, you speak about partially optimized, which is with your sentence. What is there to be done / mix / treated / whatever to be able for you to remove the word partially optimized? Okay. Now, let's be very realistic. It's the secret sauce. We won't talk about it. Okay. But we do have a patent about fluorization. Eventually we'll do that. But we haven't done it
All right,
yet.
patent about what?
Fluorization. We should have a press release on this one, though. There's a patent to optimize it's surface treatment.
Now I recall. I didn't recall the term, but the surface treatment.
I know it's probably the other term. Anyway, so
what's the answer? What's the answer that you're going to give to your Dutch investor there?
Or is the word used because the Gen 4 material is coming? Which is the full optimized Gen 3 material? Okay. It's just that we play with a limited number of parameters because we can't play with a lot of parameters when we do these material. So when we do those type of material, we keep changing them. Are we gonna go to Gen 5? Don't know. I think our idea pretty soon is going to be doing different type of testing to be able to demonstrate how they react on their fast charging and all those type of issues and how they're moving forward. We're going to do more. Of course, we're going to do more material, but it's already pretty darn good. And then we're going to switch over to see other type of batteries, see how well it performs into it. Where does it fit into it? And then we're going to play the entire gauntlet of R&D. The word is fully optimized. It will never be fully optimized because we're never going to be satisfied with our results, but that's the nature of what we do. Okay. At one point, once we go commercial, okay, we will not be fully optimized. We'll be locked into a process, which means we don't change anything else. But at this moment, we don't lock ourselves into a process.
Yeah. Because you're trying to say perpetually you're never fully optimized because you can always keep improving.
Exactly.
But having said that, you do say partially optimized in your press release. So there's probably we're all assuming there's a point where, okay, we're fully optimized up until now. I mean, I don't care if you're Google, I don't care if you're OpenAI, you know that your capacity and things are going to improve in the future, but OpenAI will come out and say ChatGPT is now fully, optimized.
No, they're
phase.
gonna come up with, it's like in computer. It's like they'll come up with a higher version of an operating system, higher version of a system. So there's always going to be room for improvement and thoughts for improvement, but we're getting pretty darn close to having a material that's that seems to be commercially viable, commercially interested. Okay. So now the questions for us is going to be start looking and say, okay, who do we partner with? Because what we do is we're one part of the equation. Okay. A gigafactory puts all of them together, but because of the cost and the investment put in all these costs, these guys want to know. So they're always going to be like 2-3 generations behind where we are in the R&D type of work. But I can tell you that it's starting to attract a lot of interest for people that want to come and work with us. I think the logical idea will be eventually to start working with a synthetic graphite player, and then we're going to start working together, because as I had a discussion this week with a company that was manufacturing a part of a batteries that's improved, and the conceptual idea was, well, if your material does this and improves by this, the material, what happens when you do the same thing but you put in a bit more of our material in the graphite? Does it really improve double twice? That's what we're looking into, and those are the type of discussion we're going to be asking. And there's going to be multiple occasions for us to do this, but we have to be, we are a small, nimble team working forward. We're not like one of our competitors that spends like millions of dollars in R&D a year. Well, we spend millions, but they spend tens of millions.
So it looks like you're saying that the phone is kind of ringing. The level, the expressions of interest are coming in, and I see you smiling, but has to be, right? I mean, I look at these numbers and I say, there's got to be guys around the world. So is that what you're referring to, Bernard? Is it safe to say that your phone is ringing?
Yeah, it's ringing. I bring this back to the fume silica reactor, and I bring this back to because it's funny. Okay. First of all, what I find very funny by some investors, they confuse all the technologies we're working together. Maybe we did the stupid idea of having names that were so close. Okay. So they confuse the FSR advantages with the QRR, with those type of material. But in the overall scheme, people are showing interest in what we're doing. We're advancing. I see some similarities with regard to advancement to what happened in the FSR, which is we had an idea, we demonstrated lab scale, we started to attract interest. It wasn't instantaneous. Okay.
Of course
But
not.
we do,
No one's looking for that.
but it
No
move
one's
up to
looking
the
for that.
LOI. This is the same thing that's happening. We got to remember that this market is what, 100 times bigger than the fume silica market. So there's lots of players coming into it, and all these companies probably get a lot of ideas moving along. But what's interesting is we seem to be moving into a more how can I say this, higher level of people that we're talking to are basically much more advanced in the discussions. So it's it's very fascinating and very encouraging to be in that direction. And there is a pathways to commercialization that's coming into fruition. Now there are steps that have to come into it. And I won't divulge all the stuff that comes into it, because then at one point it gets too complicated to try to explain everything to everybody. Plus, it's not my job.
No.
It's not my job to, to spill out my business plan publicly so my competitors can try to copy me.
No, but what you're telling us there, is pretty solid. So that's very encouraging. Um, as your battery side starts to accelerate, investors have been posting and asking in a good way for more clarity on the ownership position of HPQ and Novasium, where that could go, our interest in the technology. You mind having a little discussion on that just to clarify? Let's clarify first the ownership side of HPQ and Novasium and how, if at all, it can continue to grow and where that might lead to, and then talk about um, the ownership of the tech, because I think the tech, that's an easier one. You have if I remember correctly, it's a full exclusive license.
That's all
But let's
right.
talk about the ownership side, if you don't mind.
Well, as we said in press release, we have an exclusive license on the technology being developed, especially for the battery materials, the silicon coming to material. How we end up monetizing those issues move forward. Okay. For a lot of strategic reason, we're being very discreet about what's our future pathways for Novation, where we're going to move forward. One of the reasons behind this is until we've closed the financing where we increase our equity stake and we've put in $1 million into Novation, we're going to be more coy and more discreet. But that will open up the floodgates of funding, sort of like semi type of revenues. So that's really one of the most aggressive thing, where those type of results basically going to be able to be quadrupled. So
a
it's
tactical advantage to
yeah.
Novasium still being majority held in France / Europe because of opportunities there.
Yes, for the time being, the structure was designed. Okay, the structure was designed to maximize the benefit to all parties involved, and I think people should say there. I understand it's an easy question to come into it, but it's like we just paid the three leadership about €1 million worth of shares at the what was it, 21 cents? 21 cents. Okay. So of course their interests now are much more aligned with HPQ. So
Right. I think
that's
that's all
that.
I've got to ask. I think
Yep.
that's all, because I know
I
something new is going to come up next 7 to 10 days. That's true. Oh, I do wait, but I do know what I want to ask. If everything goes fantastic, and tomorrow
Mhm.
you get a call from the biggest anode manufacturer in the world, and they say, "Hey, we're all in, we love it, give us all you got." Do you have
Mhm.
the option at that point to acquire a majority interest, entire interest in Novasium?
Okay. I will say this. Okay. I can't say anything at this moment. And there's some very specific reason behind this where we're doing this. We structured it this way but we are in a good position. There's a reason why I'm the CEO of that company. You know, there's a reason why HPQ is a golden share in that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that part of the equation, because at this moment, the great thing is that's sort of like mutual. Okay, so people are interested when Novation does well. By default, Big Brother HPQ comes into play, because at one point they're going to need the silicone that we're going to be doing with the QRR. So it's impossible to unstuck us. And you know, people, yeah, it's and I bring this back also to the nano reactor. We were looking at the nano reactor doing this, okay, and it didn't work. And that's normal. That's R&D, okay. But we turned around. We didn't change business, okay. When we were doing the nano reactor, we were doing battery material. Oh, Jesus! Sorry, excuse my language, but I'm getting very revved up because I'm so excited about what we've accomplished. We've learned from everything that we're doing. We are learning from everything we're doing, and we're in an incredible position. You know, people have to realize that the market and the companies are two different things. The company where we are now,
well, I gotta tell you, I think your investors know that, and they're okay with that, because if I'm just repeating what I see online, that they're happy to be adding to their positions here before, quote unquote, the rest of the world finds out the story. So no, I don't think you're getting. I don't see much in terms of, you know, complaints from investors. Obviously, they would like to see the market align more.
You're not on my side of the phone from time to time.
Well, remember, if you got to answer those phone calls, we'll create AI-powered avatar that'll just repeat the same answers to them over and over again. But all right, buddy.
Some people are actually starting to think I am an avatar. I keep repeating the same thing.
Well, you're kind of repeating the same thing, but you're kind of doing it as we're talking about better and better and better results on fume silica. Now here with the silicon anodes, it's not the same thing. I mean, it's the same foundation. It's like Tom Brady saying, yes, we won again. Yes, we won again. We did it with good defense and a good offense. But he's talking about regular season. Then he's talking about playoffs. Then he's talking about Super Bowl. So it makes a difference when you're repeating it, right? True. Unlike my Dallas Cowboys, I keep repeating it during the regular season and then don't do anything. And people say, hey, I don't want to hear that story anymore. You're advancing up the ranks. So, you know, fingers crossed you have everyone's support that, you know, you can get us to the conference championship game and then eventually the Super Bowl. But thanks for joining us, my friend, today. This is awesome as usual. I love the New Jersey. And hopefully I'm going to see you again before it's August what's today? 18th?
21st.
Is it the 21st? Jesus. Am I going to see you again before Labor Day? Or are we going to see you again?
All right. This.
I'm going to put my money on I will see you. I will be seeing you again. But you know,
the odds are in your favor based on my track record, but still.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know anything, but you know, given the calls that come in, you know, I'm waiting to see what's gonna happen next Tuesday or Wednesday. Just looking down my phone to see if you call. All right, my man. Congratulations. Well done.
Thanks.
Keep it going. See you next week. Everyone at home, thanks for joining us. Hope you love this. Keep the discussion going. Post your questions to Agoracom so we can keep asking the questions here. And see you very, very soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Hey, Small Cap fam. I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agoracom? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agora.com small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.